Our goal is your satisfaction. Let us show you the way.
Can you bake cakes on both racks in the oven? Using both racks when baking cakes and cookies, for example, you can certainly bake 2 pans at once. For cakes, if the pans are small enough that there is at least an inch of airspace between the pans and the oven walls and in between the pans, you can bake them on the same rack. Can you put 2 cupcake pans in the oven at the same time? If you're baking several pans of cupcakes at a time, place each pan side by side on the same rack. If your oven isn't wide enough for 2 cupcake pans at once, place 2 oven racks in the centermost positions of the ovens and stagger the cupcake pans so that they aren't directly on top of each other. Is it better to bake on the top or bottom rack? For rich, even browning, stick with the top rack. Once the oven is preheated, the heating element on the bottom of the oven turns off and on throughout baking to maintain an even temperature. For most baking and cooking situations, the middle rack will cook and bake food more evenly. Can I bake 2 trays of cookies at the same time? Baking 2 trays of cookies at a time is fairly standard, but if your oven has space for more, 3 or 4 can be used. Industrial ovens often have 5 or 6 racks. Putting 4 trays of cookies in an oven will still not affect the cooking time, but the trays may still need to be rotated for even browning. Can I bake cookies on 2 racks? If you prefer to bake 2 sheets, space racks so oven is divided into thirds and switch cookie sheets top to bottom and back to front halfway through baking. Preheat oven 10 to 15 minutes before baking the first sheet or pan of cookies. Check oven temperature with an oven thermometer. How do you bake multiple cakes at the same time? If you need to cook 3 cakes at a time, place 2 on the bottom rack, spaced apart, and 1 on the rack above and in between the other 2. Move the cakes twice during cooking so that each cake spends an equal amount of time in each position. Top equals pale cakes stacked above each other disrupt heat flow in the oven. How do you bake on multiple racks? If you have a conventional oven, then you can rotate the pans part of the way through the baking time. If you have 2 pans on the same shelf, then turn the pans 180 degrees. If you have pans on different shelves, then you need to swap the pans between the shelves. Can you bake multiple things at once? If one dish calls for a roasting temp of 325 degrees Fahrenheit and another calls for 375 degrees Fahrenheit, you can meet in the middle and cook both at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Most ovens are usually off by about 25 degrees, so both should be fine. The exception is baked goods, which do require a specific temperature.
Take our lead. Let's help you make your mark.